Good afternoon and welcome live to Ben Shatliff on Sunday. Today is Sunday, June 4th, 2023. On today's programme, we'll be spending time reflecting and thinking of all the brave people who gave their lives and risked everything on the battle to save the world, which was, of course, the D-Day landings, which took place 79 years ago on Tuesday, June 6th, 1944. Before that, though, we'll take a look at the news, which is affecting Britain, Ukraine, and around the world this Sunday early evening. A 17-year-old boy who died off Bournemouth Beach has been named by police. He died after getting into difficulty in the water off Bournemouth Beach on Wednesday, and he's been named by Dorset Police as Joe Abbott from Southampton. A 12-year-old girl named locally as Susanna Khan also died in the incident, while another 8 people were injured. India's deadly rail crash was likely caused by a signalling failure that resulted in a train wrongly changing tracks, the country's railway minister has said. Ashwini Vaishnaw said there had been an error with the electronic interlocking, a system that manages the tracks and signal sequencing using sensors and feedback. At least 275 people died in the accident and nearly 1,200 more were injured. Harry and Meghan have said that due to their new PR expertise, they're going to remain silent. It's believed that they want to become as popular as Angelina Jolie and other A-list celebrities in America. It's been advised that they are to keep silent. Speeches of Sussex will be appearing at the High Court tomorrow in an injunction against the Mirror newspaper. And the last time a senior royal appeared as a witness at the High Court, the Mirror newspaper didn't even exist. The year was 1891, and heir to the throne, Prince Edward, was called to give evidence during the royal baccarat scandal, a case about cheating at cards. An elderly man has been arrested on suspicion of murder after the death of a woman in her 80s. A murder investigation has been launched by Dorset Police following the death of a woman at an address in Bournemouth. Police received a report around 7 p.m. on Saturday, raising concern for the welfare of a woman at an address off Whip Lane in the Southbourne district suburb of Bournemouth. Let's take a look at the main points which are happening in Ukraine on this Sunday evening. The key points are that Russian militias capture Russian soldiers and demand a meeting. But the body of a 2-year-old girl has been found under the rubble of a house destroyed by shelling in the Ukrainian city of Dnipro, its governor has said. The number of people injured has risen to 22 since our last report early this morning, 5 of them were children. A rocket landed in between two-story buildings, damaging 10 houses and gas pipelines, Governor Serhiy Lysyk said. Air defense systems downed 2 cruise missiles and 1 drone. Further south along the Dnieper River, artillery damaged 3 high-rise buildings and power lines in the town of Nikopol, but there were no casualties, the governor said. He posted images of the aftermath in the Dnieper city to his Telegram account. The pro-Ukrainian and anti-Kremlin Russian militants say they have captured two Russian soldiers. The Freedom of Russian Legion, the FRL, which attacked Belgorod twice in recent weeks, and the Russian Volunteer Corps, the RVC, have offered to exchange them in return for a meeting with the governor of the region. Of course, there is much more which is happening in Ukraine, which we don't very often hear about on the mainstream media. Those of you that follow me on Facebook and get different contacts and different things, then by going on to Telegram and signing up for various different things, you'll be able to see more of what's happening than what is reported on the mainstream media. And as always, our thoughts and prayers are with the people of Ukraine, so that they can have peace, stability, and freedom, not just now, but for always. At this stage, 79 years ago, some people in various different parts of the world were trying to get on with their lives as much as they could, despite the world being at war, the Second World War. In many different bases around the United Kingdom, were thousands, millions of people, not just men, but women, and people that were going to be involved in something, people that were gearing up to something, thinking they're all preparing, they're all training, and the anticipation was high, not knowing exactly what was going to be happening or necessarily where as such. They knew they were going to be doing something big that would be very big, the Allied outcome of the Second World War. There were sleepless nights or people getting agitated. There were many men on ships that had been on there for days, waiting to begin the orders. Let's go, let's go. Until finally, on Monday, June 5th, after many, many meetings, General Dwight D. Eisenhower, who would then become President of the United States just a few years later, would give the order. It's tonight, we are going. And of course, for anyone that's not sure what I'm talking about the D-Day landings. Some call it The Longest Day, and there was a film which I watched about it just a few days ago, which is a very, very good film. There's another one that was on this afternoon, D-Day, the 6th of June, and of course it featured on War Remembrance and many, many other dramas and documentaries. But of course, this would change the world without any way, shape, or form, because the actions of all those people that were involved in the D-Day landings on Tuesday, June 6, 1944, whether it was people on boats, ships, air, whichever way they got over there, it would change the outcome. Because what they did was went over to Normandy and then managed to get their way across Europe and meeting up from the east, which would then bring an end to Nazi Germany and would bring the war to an end 10 months later. Now, over recent years, over the last, well, in fact, actually for almost 30 years now, I've been following when it's come up to the various different anniversaries for D-Day. I remember the commemorations in 1944, in 1994, when it was the 50th anniversary of the D-Day landings. And of course, in just a year's time, it will be the 80th anniversary. 30 years ago, when they had some very big special commemorations, I won't say the word celebrations because it's commemorations, although it did bring the end of the war, because a lot of people didn't make it past stepping off those boats or parachuting down or whichever way. A lot of those brave people didn't actually make it. Some didn't even touch the ground in some cases. So although it did bring the war to an end, it didn't. This is a commemoration. I remember thinking in 1994, yes, this is 50 years ago. Now you're thinking, right, 79, almost 80 years ago. And every 5 years, normally, they do a special commemoration think it's still something that is still very, very relevant without any shadow of a doubt. Because sometimes you get people say, "Oh, should we still be remembering these things?" Of course we do, because we have to continue remembering all of these occasions, because that led to the end of the Second World War. If that hadn't have happened, then who knows what would have happened? Hitler, even though they did try to invade Britain in 1940, they could have thought, well, no one's gone over now to liberate the rest of Europe. Let's try again. And if you imagine that, then how our lives would have been now. And of course, these D-Day landings are even more poignant on the when it comes to the anniversary with what is happening in Ukraine. And we all want Ukraine to be completely free from the Russian invasion, and we also want the rest of the world and other countries where there are many, many problems going on to be free of any kind of injustice which is going on. And we want that peace, freedom, and stability for the entire world, but especially we think, of course, of the people of Ukraine. And later this year, when it comes up to the 79th anniversary of Arnhem, and of course there's a famous film called A Bridge Too Far, and one of my great uncles was killed there at Arnhem back in late 1944. And as it comes towards that anniversary, I can't tell you his story directly, but we will do a Ben Shatliff on Sunday special for the anniversary of the Arnhem of Arnhem. And of course, what they call it a bridge too far. We'll go through the full story in relation to that. So our thoughts today are with all of those people who just 79 years ago, and bearing in mind for anyone who was born in 1944 or born just a couple of years before, this is something that's happened in their lifetime. It was 31 years before I was born, but you still think of all these brave people out there that did so much for our own individual freedom that some of us do have today, but not everybody does. So our thoughts now are with the people that were so brave and did so much to try and bring peace and get stability back into the world back in 1944. God bless and thank you.
My soul is filled with joy as I sing to God, my Savior. You have looked upon your servant. You have visited your people, and holy is your name. Through all generations, everlasting is your mercy. To the people you have chosen, and holy is your name. I am holy as a child, but I know from this day forward that my name will be remembered. Oh, call me blessed, and holy is your name. Through all generations, everlasting is your mercy. To the people you have chosen, and holy is your name. I proclaim the power of God. You do marvels for your servants, though you scatter the rebellion and destroy the might of princes, and name. Through all generations, everlasting is your mercy to the people you have chosen, and holy is your name.